Donald Trump is set to accept a very pricey gift from the royal family of Qatar, taking delivery of a Boeing 747 that will be used as Air Force One during his second term. The very lavish gift is raising substantial ethical and legal questions, and we want to talk about it now with Richard Painter, former White House ethics lawyer under George W. Bush and professor of law at the University of Minnesota. Richard, thank you very much for being here with us and kind of walking us through some questions around all of this. This is said to be the most expensive gift ever bestowed on a U.S. leader. It has a value of more than $400 million. The Attorney General and White House counsel's office have said they believe it's okay legally. Where do you come down on this? How would you assess this?
This is legal, in my view, only with consent of Congress. That's what the Emoluments Clause of the United States Constitution says, that a person holding a position of trust with the United States government cannot accept a gift from a foreign government without the consent of Congress. Benjamin Franklin was ambassador to France. Had to go to Congress to get consent to accept a snuff box that had diamonds on it from the government of France. That's what the Emoluments Clause says. And this airplane can only be accepted by President Trump if Congress consents. And to say, well, it's given to his presidential library rather than to him, that doesn't make any sense. He's going to be using this plane for the next 4 years. And he then, if he says it goes to his presidential library, that is a gift that requires the consent of Congress under the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution. That's very, very clear. We can't have our president or anyone else being influenced by foreign government gifts. And that's why Congress needs to have control over that. And that's why the Constitution requires that they do. And Qatar, I got to say, is a very wealthy country. I understand that they also have been spending over $1 billion supporting Hamas over the years. It's somewhat ironic for the United States to be accepting a gift from Qatar. This is money that really should be used rebuilding Gaza and getting Hamas the heck out of there. Qatar, why is the United States of America accepting a gift of this magnitude from a foreign government that supported terrorist organizations?
It is a worthy question. And can you find a good answer to the question you just posed?
I can't find a good answer at all unless this airplane is part of some big deal, the art of the deal, where Donald Trump is going to magically bring peace to the Middle East. But the last time around, the Abraham Accords, the Trump administration was not able to establish a lasting peace. And once again, Qatar has, along with Iran and some other countries, supported organizations that destabilize the Middle East. We need money to be spent on humanitarian causes, trying to rebuild after the destruction of the war in Gaza.
So let's unpack a little bit of what you were saying there. You're saying that it must be approved by Congress. That is, at this moment in time, seems unlikely for that to happen. If that does not happen, what does that mean?
I don't think that Donald Trump can accept it. It's unconstitutional. Now, of course, the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution does not have a specific penalty attached, but the House of Representatives can impeach a government official for accepting unconstitutional emoluments from foreign governments. During Donald Trump's first term, this was limited to hotel rooms and patronizing his golf courses and all the shenanigans going on with foreign governments that led to investigations by the House of Representatives and also to some litigation against Donald Trump. That issue was never resolved, but now we have emoluments on a much grander scale, foreign emoluments. Not only this airplane from Qatar, but we also have the Trump family is in cryptocurrency. And we have no idea who's investing in these various cryptocurrency ventures. And some of that may be foreign government money. And that would be unconstitutional under the Emoluments Clause. But yes, we are left with that question of who is going to enforce it. If Congress doesn't want to consent to this plane, what are they going to do? Just sit there and do nothing and say, well, we're also not going to enforce the United States Constitution? If that's the case, then maybe we have to vote them out.
All right, so much more to come on this, but thank you very much for kind of fleshing that out and giving us some context. Richard Painter, we really appreciate your time.
It's being called a flying palace. The Qatari royal family is giving President Trump a new plane, one that could become the new Air Force One. The luxury Boeing 747-8 jumbo jet is valued as high as $400 million. That's according to an ABC News report. But one question remains. Can the president actually accept and fly in this new plane from a foreign government? Group chat is back. I don't even know where to begin with the appearance of impropriety or the security concerns of getting a plane. Who wants to start?
I can say, they're doing this legal rationale, which is that they're not giving it to Trump. They're giving it to the Air Force, who then is giving it to Air Force One, and then they will give it to the Presidential Library afterward. So they clearly are trying to get around at least the spirit of the Emoluments Clause. I'll also say Donald Trump has not liked Air Force One going back to his first term.
Yes.
He has been trying to get it replaced, and there have been so many delays with the Boeing's new project that he basically is fed up. He's like, he wants a new plane.
And Boeing is struggling a bit as a company.
He's trolling like a few different players at the same time. One is Congress, because this is supposed to be a job for Congress to decide whether a gift can go to the president in a way like this. And the other is Boeing, because there is going to be a new Air Force One. At the earliest, it'll roll out roughly within the very last year of President Trump's presidency. And it may be later than that, so he might not get to fly on it.
So you don't think this is him being like, Boeing, why don't you hurry up?
No, I think he wants the new plane.
No, he definitely, but also,
fair.
look, there is, a foreign government could not give a president $400 million in cash, or at least I don't think they can.
Give it a minute.
And so there are obvious ethical discussions and questions and considerations and reasons that the Constitution was written in a way to try to prevent foreign influence on U.S. leaders. So all of that stuff becomes part of this conversation for very obvious reasons.
And Trump was kind of boasting about it on Truth Social, basically saying that they're getting it free of charge. And then interestingly, he says it's the crooked Democrats that they insist we pay top dollar for the plane. Anybody can do that. The Dems are world-class losers.
Well, this is a scandal
There's 3
in plain
exclamation
sight.
points there. You think so?
Well, imagine if this was happening secretly and then it was suddenly exposed. The fact that it's out there and Trump saying, here's what we're going to do, not only is it an infringement of the Constitution, even if they say it's going to the Pentagon, if Trump gets to keep the plane at the end, it's a gift to Trump. The second point is, if you accept a plane from a foreign power, you're going to have to spend hundreds of millions of dollars checking that there's no surveillance devices on that plane. You don't know where it's been. And so under this scheme, the president is going to presumably spend hundreds of millions of dollars doing up this plane while billions of dollars are already being spent on the 2 Air Force Ones that are coming down the line at a time when they're gutting government and normal Americans are facing a lot of trouble paying for their grocery bills.
Right.
Politically,
And are nervous about getting on planes themselves.
you know, it doesn't look like it's going to fly. Pardon the pun.
It's too early. Stephen Collins, you are not part of it.
That plane, yeah.
Okay. Oh my God.